Welcome to the Bruges Real Estate Academy. In this video, we will discuss property selection criteria. The first thing you need to do when analyzing a property is determine how much money you want to make from the property, or what is your return on investment going to be for investing in this specific property. My criteria is 20% or above. The reason I use 20% as my floor is because of the risk involved in real estate. As we discussed in the mechanics of buying a house video, real estate is a highly leveraged investment. And when you're highly leveraged, there's a lot of risk involved. Additionally, the variability in vacancies, wear and tear on the property, and other damages to the property could cost you money down the line. So that's the reason for the high return on investment. But the return on investment is a personal choice. There's no right or wrong answer. It's something that you need to decide for yourself. But I strongly encourage you, because of the risks involved, to use my selection criteria, 20% or above. If you can't find a property that gives you a 20% or above deal, check another market. Look in other states. I know some states, like here in California, it's very difficult to get those returns, and a lot of investors in California invest in other states. So I strongly encourage you to use that as your floor. But again, it's a personal choice, and if you're investing for something other than cash flow, maybe depreciation or appreciation, then you'll have different selection criteria. All right, I'm going to bring in an Excel spreadsheet here that I put together. This is just a basic Excel spreadsheet that I use to analyze properties. It's very simple. It took me about 5 minutes to put together. If you don't know how to use Excel, I strongly encourage you to learn. It's a very simple program. You don't need to take a class. You can just ask somebody, and they can someone who knows how to use Excel, and they can show you. And once you know how to use it, it makes analyzing properties a lot simpler and easier. So let's go into the spreadsheet, and I'll show you what I did, so you can analyze properties the same way. Alright, the list price said it's $50,000, and for the purposes of this video, we're going to assume we bought the property for $50,000, and that includes the transfer tax, all the closing costs, all the taxes. So, total purchase price is $50,000. And then, based off our home inspection, as we did in buying the property mechanics video, we did our home inspection. We included cost of materials, cost of labor, permits to get the use and occupancy permit, any other permits we had to get the place rent ready, any utilities that we had to pay off. Maybe there was a late water bill on the property, or a water lien or something, or maybe we had to pay the gas company to turn the gas on. We didn't find that until we started working on it. But the fix-up price, the total fix-up price, with all that stuff rolled in, is $20,000. So the total cost to get the house rent ready is $70,000, or $50,000 plus $20,000. Now in this next row here, I have three gross rent scenarios. I have a $1,200 a month rent scenario, $1,100 a month, and $1,000 a month rent scenario. In the next row, I have the debt service, and if this is the Excel function bar up here, if you hit the equals, and this is the PMT function. Basically, what it does is it's an amortization function which tells you what the mortgage payment is going to be on your property each month. So the interest rate is 5%, and I divided that by 12 per term, and then 12 months times 30, so that gives you the number of terms. I could have put 360 in there as well, but this is a 30-year mortgage, and then uh, we separate all this with commas. I separated the interest rate from the terms with a comma, and then I separated the amount we're borrowing in B16. Um, that's this number right here, the 45,500, and that's 65% of the total appraisal value of the house. For the purposes of this video, we're going to assume that the bank and the appraiser agree with us, and this house is worth $75,000. And you can see that's B8, 70,000 times 0.65. Um, that's $45,500. All right, now if you want to know what your net profit is, that's what I'm calling cash flow, and that's $739.91. All right, and you might just look at the debt service and subtract that from the gross rent, but what I also put in here, the $77 is the hazard insurance. You shouldn't be buying property without hazard insurance. That's one of the things you need to have in place when you go to settlement and when you're going to buy the property is hazard insurance. And then minus, we're assuming the city thinks that this property is worth B8 is this cell right here, $70,000 times 0.0238. That's the property tax in Baltimore. I know it's really high, but that's what it is in Baltimore, divided by 12. So the way we're figuring this is, we're subtracting out the tax on a monthly basis. So the $739.91 is our monthly cash flow. It's actually going to be, in actuality, it's going to be higher because we don't pay taxes. It's actually going to be $878. However, you do have to pay those taxes at the end of the year, so that's why we calculated with the 739, because we got to remember to set that money aside. All right, so now you're thinking, okay, well, how do I calculate my return on investment? So if we want to do that, we just multiply the net profits by 12, and this is assuming we're just going to assume 100% occupancy for the year to make it easy. And then this, what I'm calling deficit per house, is the cash that we're going to leave in when we pull this 45,500 out. So in each house, we're going to leave $24,500 in equity. All right, and well, let's times this by -1 just to make it not negative. All right, so in this model here, if we're able to rent the house out at $1,200 a month, it's a 36% return on investment. All right, so let's look at it. Let's look at it if we rent it out $4,000 a month. What does that do? All right, and that if we're only able to rent it for $1,000 a month, that drops us down to 26% return on investment. So we're still within our criteria. Um, go back, change this, back to B10. Another thing I want to mention is if you look at the term, we got a 30-year mortgage. We'll cut this down to 15. Now our return dropped from 36% to 31 when we decreased the term on our mortgage. Now a lot of mortgage brokers are going to try, when you're trying to finance the property, are going to try to push a 15-year mortgage because it's better for the bank, and they'll say, you pay off the house faster. And that's true, but as a real estate investor, you want to get the longest term possible. We'll put this out to 40 years. Now at 40 years, we've increased our return by 1%. Now you may say, well, I can pay the house off faster at 15 years. Well, that's true, but if you extend the term of your mortgage, you can still pay off the house in 15 years if you want, or you can put that money in your pocket. It just gives you the control over your money instead of the bank. Well, thanks for sticking with us, and we'll see you in the next video.